Now let's take a look at the Bible. All right, they claim to be defenders of the women's rights. So now let's take a look at their book, what their book says about women. So it's the prophecy of Isaiah that God commands the Isaiah to go and, you know, destroy the Babylonians. So because they have done, they did bad things to you, so now it's chance for you to take your vengeance back. So what God's command Isaiah here is, he says to Isaiah that their infants will be dashed to pieces before their eyes, their houses will be looted, their wives violated. So it's actually permissible according to the Old Testament, right? According to the Bible, gang rape is permissible according to the Bible. Look at the other verse. It says, if a man sells his daughter as a servant, she is not to go free as male servants do. So if it's permissible in the Bible, in Christianity or in Judaism, to sell your daughter as a servant. I don't want to bring the whole context. The whole context is totally hideous. So you have to go and check it out for yourself. If you go and read it more and more, you're going to hate it. And that's that much hideous. So now a Christian might argue that I'm not, following the Old Testament, I'm following the New Testament. But according to the Christians, the God of the Old Testament, Yahweh, is Jesus. Jesus is Yahweh according to them. If Jesus is Yahweh, so these are the commands of Jesus. So Jesus ordered these, mass killings and all these things in the Old Testament. Now let's move on. It says, if a woman should learn in quietness and full submission, I do not permit a woman to teach or assume authority over a man. In the Quran, we actually we mentioned that a woman can have authority over a man. But here it says that she must be quiet and learn in quietness and full submission. Let's move on. It says, for Adam was formed first, then Eve, and Adam was not the one deceived. It was the woman who was deceived and became a sinner. So all those actual problems, all of the fault of the Adam, all of those things, Eve is to be blamed because of that. And the Bible actually criticizes Eve for the sin of Adam. Adam had a mind, Eve had a mind. They should have thought for themselves that they shouldn't eat from this tree that God forbade them to do. But now here in the Bible it says that it was the problem of Eve. Eve was the one who was deceived. Excuse me. Look at the other verse. It's in Colossians chapter 3 verse 18. It says, wives, submit yourselves to your husbands as is fitting in the Lord. So the position of the Lord is the position of the husbands is as kind of like the position of the Lord, the position of God to the women, to their wives. Wow. So let's move on. It says that wives, submit yourselves to your own husband as you do to the Lord. Again, notice here, for the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church, his body, of which he is the Savior. Now as the church submits to Christ, so also wives should submit to their husband in everything. They should submit themselves to their husbands. They're second class. So according to the Bible. That's the New Testament, by the way. Look at the 1 Corinthians chapter 14 verse 34. It says, women should remain silent in churches. They are not allowed to speak, but must be in submission as the law says. Wow. So they should not speak in the churches. And what should they do then? I don't know. So they are calling Islam misogynist. They are calling Islam a misogynist religion. This is, the New Testament saying these things. And they are calling Islam the misogynist religion. Oh, unbelievable. So let's carry on. It says in Leviticus chapter 20, verse 14, it says, if a man marries both a woman and her mother, it's wicked. Both he and they must be burned in the fire, so that no wickedness will be among you. The other verse that says, if a priest's daughter defiles herself by becoming a prostitute, she disgraces her father, she must be burned in the fire. Leviticus chapter 21 verse 9. So it's actually like it is sanctioned in the Bible to burn people as well when they are doing bad things. So let's see what the Prophet ﷺ said about burning people. It's in Sahih al-Bukhari, book 58, hadith 166. It says, وَإِنَّ النَّارَ لَا يُؤَذِّبُ بِهَا إِلَى اللَّهِ. But as punishment with fire is done by none except Allah. So no one is allowed in Islam to burn people. So let's carry on. It's Islamically, it's not allowed for any Muslim to burn anyone for any reason, even if it's wicked or good or bad or whatever it is. So in another verse, it's in Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 13 to 21. It says, if a man takes a wife and after sleeping with her dislikes her and slanders her and gives her a bad name, saying, I married this woman, but when I approached her, I did not find proof of her virginity, then the young woman's father and mother shall bring to the town elders at the gate proof of that she was a virgin. Her father will say to the elders, I gave my daughter in marriage to this man, but he dislikes her. Now he has slandered her and said, I did not find your daughter to be a virgin, but here's the proof of my daughter's virginity. Then her parents shall display the cloth before the elders of the town, and the elders shall take the man and punish him. They shall find him 100 shekels of silver and give them to the young woman's father, because this man has given an Israelite virgin a bad name. She shall continue to be his wife. He must not divorce her as long as he lives. So imagine. So let's carry on, and we will talk about that. We will have a discussion about this. If, however, the charge is true and no proof of the young woman's virginity can be found, she shall be brought to the door of her father's house, and there the man of her town shall stone her to death. He has done an outrageous thing in Israel by being promiscuous while still in her father's house. You must purge the evil from among you. So it is, according to the biblical law, right? You have to bring the cloth. What if the woman, the young lady is innocent and the cloth is not there at first place, right? She will most likely get stoned to death, if the cloth is not there. And the other thing is, even if he slandered her, so he cannot divorce her as long as he lives. So somebody slanders the woman, right? And he continues to be, her husband. What kind of a just law is that? And all right, so let alone that, it says that she shall be brought to the door of her father's house, and there the man of the town shall stone her to death. So what's the crime of her father? They should bring her to her father's house, and there in front of her father's house she shall be stoned to death. What kind of law is this? Anyway, let's carry on. Let's take a look at another verse. It says, it has been said, anyone who divorces his wife must give her a certificate of divorce. But I tell you that anyone who divorces his wife, except for sexual immorality, makes her the victim of adultery, and anyone who marries a divorced woman commits adultery. So according to the New Testament, according to Jesus, if it's apart from sexual immorality, a couple cannot divorce each other. So they should stay as long as they are alive and something like that, if sexual immorality doesn't happen in their relationship. So, and now the other thing is that if someone marries a divorced woman, he commits adultery. So you're not allowed to marry a divorced woman according to the New Testament. So what should they do then? For example, a man is a wife beater, right? A man who is actually abuses his wife is a drug lord or something like that. So she cannot divorce her according to the law of the New Testament, right? So let's carry on. It's in 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 5 to 10. It says, but every woman who prays or prophesies with her head uncovered dishonors her head. It's the same as having her head shaved. For a woman does not cover her head, she might as well have her hair cut off. But if it's a disgrace for a woman to have her head cut off or her head shaved, then she should cover her head. a man ought not to cover his head, since he is the image and glory of God, but woman is the glory of man. For man did not come from woman, but woman from man. Neither was man created for woman, but woman were for man. It is for this reason that a woman ought to have authority over her own head because of the angels. So if a woman prophesies or prays without her head covered, so her head will be shaved. That's what Mr. Paul says in 1 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 5 to 10. Look at the other verse. It says, if a man happens to meet in a town a virgin pledged to be married, and he sleeps with her, you shall take both of them to the gate of that town and stone them to death. The young woman because she was in a town and did not scream for help, and the man because he violated another man's wife. You must purge the evil from among you. So now, why I brought this verse, the reason that I brought this verse was this: if a woman, screamed and nobody heard her, so what's going to happen to her then? So she screamed and nobody heard her, and she will most likely get stoned by this biblical law. So look at the other verse. It's in Leviticus chapter 12 verse 2 to 5. It says, if a woman gives birth to a baby boy, then she becomes unclean for 7 days. But if she gives birth to a baby girl, then she becomes unclean for 40 days. So according to the biblical law, females are more unclean than males are. Look at the other verse. It says, if a man has sexual relations with an animal, he must be put to death, and you must kill the animal. All right, let's go to other verse and we will evaluate that. If a woman approaches an animal to have sexual relations with it, kill both the woman and the animal. They must be put to death. Their blood will be on their own heads. So it says that, first of all, it says that if a woman approaches to have sexual relations, so she didn't have any sexual relationship, but she intends to do, the sexual relation with this particular animal. So what you're gonna do is that you should kill both of them. So the woman doesn't do any bad thing, but she's more likely to get killed because of her intentions. And why should we kill an animal at first place, right? If a man or a woman, has a sexual relation with an animal, why should we kill the animal at first place? What is the crime of the animal? Why should the animal should be blamed because a man or a woman, has intercourse with it? So that's actually the law of Bible. So it's a biblical law. Now take a look at the other verse. It says, if two men are fighting and the wife of one of them comes to rescue her husband from his assailant, and she reaches out and seizes him by his private parts, you shall cut off her hand, show her no pity. Deuteronomy chapter 25 verse 11 to 12. And be careful when your husband is actually fighting someone to not reach somebody by the private part, or your hand will be cut off, even if you're right. So it's in book of Genesis chapter 38 verse 6 and 9. And this verse, Judah got a wife for his firstborn, and her name was Tamar. But Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the Lord's sight, so the Lord put him to death. Then Judah said to Onan, sleep with your brother's wife and fulfill your duty to her as a brother-in-law, to raise up offspring for your brother. Fulfill your duty. Fulfill your duty. So how can you raise up an offspring for your brother, right? That's actually interesting. And the other thing is that we were talking about a few verses, a few minutes ago about the verses of the Quran, right? And in the previous video we were talking about the verses of the Quran. And in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that you cannot inherit, inherit a woman. So according to the Bible, you can inherit, at some point it was something like this. So you could inherit, the wives of your deceased family members. And look at the other book. It's the Roman Catholic Bible. It's a book from the Roman Catholic Bible. Its name is Ecclesiasticus, and it is said in Ecclesiasticus that it's a disgrace to have fathered a badly brought up son, and the birth of any daughter is a loss. And the other verse in the same book, it says, a shameless woman shall be counted as a dog, but she that is shamefaced will fear the Lord. So according to the Bibles, a shameless woman is a dog. So let's go to the canonical saints of Christianity, what they said about the woman. Woman is a daughter of falsehood, a sentinel of hell, the enemy of peace. Through her Adam lost paradise. Saint John of Damascene or Damascus. Woman is the instrument which the devil uses to gain possession of our souls. Saint Cyprian. Woman is the fountain of the arm of the devil. Her voice is the hissing of the serpent. Saint Anthony. Woman has the poison of an asp, the malice of a dragon. Saint Gregory. So these are the canonical, saints of Christianity. And I actually like one advice for those people that are attacking Islam using women. Just first look at your own book, right? First look at your own book and then come attack Islam. Because if you don't look at it, you will actually you will be embarrassed, and you will be shown the truth in a very, very embarrassing manner that I have showed you. So, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That was the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends as well, so that it may raise awareness.